Well, good morning, friends. Mark Home here, of course, with. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know this doesn't work. I'm actually going to be doing some things a little bit different. I love my woodworking and things, and I love challenges. I know not everybody who comes on my channel is looking for, woodworking. Now, I do have another channel. I'm going to start putting stuff on that channel as well when I have different projects. And hopefully next month we're going to start working on the red brick house. So we'll put content on there for you guys that is just really woodworking and things. So that way I can kind of separate, I guess, the stuff somewhat. Don't worry, I'm going to be there talking about the Cowboys as much as ever. But right now, the thing I love is I love a challenge. I love a challenge, or when somebody asks me for something a little bit different, coming up with something, unique. I dare say when I look over here at the Joe Barty, which is white and blue and silver, that really strikes my interest. And I look at that and say, yeah, man, that was a challenge. And I enjoyed coming up with something that somebody else hasn't had. Or people will come to me and say, I need something different than what I have. The reason why the Joe Bartys came about was because my man Clarence wanted to have a rack for his headphones. And shout out to Clarence, he's never picked his up. It's still here, and we've actually, it's in there, right?
Unless someone orders it.
Yeah, all right.
That's what happens. We make one.
It's like, Clarence, I've been waiting for you to come over and get it. But be that as it may, that was the inspiration to be able to make the Joe Bartys, and so that's kind of cool, and to know that they're going to be in people's houses and people are going to look at that and say, Mark Holmes made that. It's actually a good feeling. So my friend Richard, who I've known for probably 16, 17 years and stuff, is a diehard Steeler fan. He's got 86-inch TV. It's a nice, huge TV. And needs a new stand to put it on because the one he has is really like it's on the cutting edge. I mean, literally, it's on the edge. The TV is literally on the edge, so he needs one a little bit bigger. And so he said, man, I need you to make one. He said, but I want you to be creative. And so I'm letting my mind go crazy with this to do something for a sports room. This is going to be unique because what I'm doing is it's only 22 inches high. It's got to have spaces for the cables and stuff. But he's a Steeler fan. I'm not going to hold it against him. So it's going to be Steelers colors. So what we have over there, I'm incorporating my footballs. So I've taken and made 2 footballs. Those are going to be the ends. So we're going to paint those Steelers yellow. And then we're going to put our white laces on there so you got your Steeler football there. And we're going to make the shelves and everything else black. So it's black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. But wait, there's more to it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to keep this football theme throughout. So you've got the footballs, the laces that are going to be the braces. And then we're going to continue those curves. Now, I've already started this morning because here's the actual top to this. We're actually using some laminated pine boards on here. We're going to make this out of all solid wood. You could do this out of plywood and put edge banding on it, but instead of, or gluing up edges, but to be able to go ahead and just buy these, this will be really good. Now the nice thing is, as opposed to IKEA, see IKEA, it would be particle board with the plastic laminate over it. Problem is, if that ever gets wet, or if somebody stands on it or whatever, it's going to break. Well, I tell you what, that's not going to break. So you can see, this kind of looks like an airplane wing, like the rear tail wing. I don't know if you can see the curve on this or not. But see, that's the curve, like a football, right? So you got that. This will be the top. It's bigger than the shelves. And so we're going to take the footballs. Those are going to be the legs for this. And now I'm getting ready to cut my next curve. This will actually be one of the 2 shelves. Because it's only 22 inches tall, 3 inches will be the base. You'll have about 12 inches of space in there, and then you'll have another 4 inches. So the cable box, the PlayStation boxes, all of those will be able to go on the shelf. But to continue that football curve, we're going to be cutting the shelves as well to go underneath them. Now, because we have these footballs that are standing vertical, you can't keep just the point of the football. It's just not enough really for the balance on it. So I've actually cut off the top of the football so it's a little bit flatter, right? But to make this look like a football, we're going to make basically like legs, little feet that are real narrow and curved so it looks like it's a kicking tee that it's on. So I have this vision in my head. There's no plans for this. All I know, and this is the thing that's crazy about when I do woodworking, is people will come to me and they'll say, I need such and such. You don't see plans in here. They're all up here in my head. I get a vision of what I want to do, and then I build it. So all I know is he needs it to be 72 inches long, 20 inches wide, 22 inches tall. So let's see if we can get this thing together. So let's get cutting. Now, by the way, I love my DeWalt cordless tools. It makes life so much easier. I'm slowly but surely changing my tools to be all cordless because, you know, back in the day, I was old school carpenter. Give me a hammer and nail. Then we got screw guns. Oh, those are nice. Then we got pneumatic guns, which is great, but then you got that lousy compressor you take on the site. Oh, look at this, dudes. Okay. That is a cordless framing nailer that runs off a battery. The only bad thing about it is you can only put like one thing of nails in there, but you know, you don't have to have have the hose and the compressor and the power for it. And the other cool thing is I have a 4-bank charger. Okay, I can charge up 4 batteries at the same time. But not only that, it's like an inverter because I can actually run power off of that with these batteries. I've actually taken 4 of these batteries and run that 65-inch TV for 3 hours with it. Yeah. It's the future, guys. It's the future. And so, right there, look, even got a light. That's a curve. All right, so we'll take the belt sander, we'll sand this smooth, and then I'll use, again, another one of my cordless tools. You know I love tools. Cordless router. Look at that. Even with the little baby battery. This will put a nice edge right on around here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the pocket hole jig over there, and we're going to drill holes in at an angle so the screws are hidden, so you won't see them. And I guess in some regards, if I end up having to mass produce these and try and send them out, then you'd have to put it together in your shop or your basement. But it'd be easier than IKEA. go. All right, so this is my first shelf, and this is the base shelf piece for it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting these, getting them together. The top piece I had to fill in. You know, when you're getting these laminated boards, they do have some knots and stuff in there. Sometimes there'll be little cracks or little holes in it. So we filled it in over there. That one's not quite ready to be sanded, but we can at least start with this one. So we've got our footballs cut. We got the laces actually glued up. We've got our base pieces here. We've got our top. We're going to sand those. The only other thing I don't have is because this is actually a very, very heavy TV that will go on here. So what you have to understand in basics of building is transferring the load from the top to the ground. So you have to have something in there to support it. Well, this is where this works out well. The lace actually is going to end up getting squared off. And this is going to actually act as part of the support for the base, because this, along with the football, will carry the load on top of it. So basically the feet for the table, for the TV, will be on top of where our side pieces are. So that way it'll transfer the weight down. The other thing we have to worry about too is, because this is long, you've got the weight of it, is you worry about side-to-side motion. And so what we're going to do with this is, to make sure we don't have side-to-side motion, we dadoed out the ends, okay? And what that is we end up taking stackable blades, so you can do up to, like, 13/16 of an inch wide, a groove, so that way one piece of wood will slide into the other. We have the pocket hole screws that goes into it that locks it in place. So that gives you a nice tight joint. And then because it's locked in there, it can't just drop down, as opposed to just shooting nails. My wife loves watching DUI TV, and it drives me crazy because they do things like they'll put like wood slats on the wall, and they'll just take a finished nail gun and they'll tack, 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 a couple of them on there, no glue or anything behind it. Here's the problem with it. It's not going to last. Eventually, the wood is going to warp, it's going to shrink, it's going to move and do what wood does, and most of those nails are just going into drywall. It's not going to last. They're going to start coming off. Oh, yes, it looks great on TV when they do it. And this is where I hate watching. My wife's like, oh, let's look at this show. It's like, you know what? I'm watching all this stuff, and it's driving me crazy, because a lot of the stuff that they're doing and information they're putting out there just won't hold up to the test of time. So what we're going to do is, we want this whole thing to look open. You're going to see the yellow footballs with the white lace and the black shelves. And we want to make it ease of access to be able to run the wires. So we want the back to be open. But we also want to make sure that this thing is sturdy. So what we'll do is, we'll actually take some 1x6s, okay? And we'll do those same dado cuts that we did on the football. And we'll put 2 of those in the back. And the reason being is, one, this will support the shelves, okay, because it'll keep them from being able to have any play in them. 2, it'll go right up underneath of the top and making that more rigid, and it'll help to transfer that load on the ground. But more importantly, because it's 6 inches wide with that dado cut, and being able to screw up into the top, backside so you don't see it, and locked in on the shelves, it's going to keep it from being able to have any side-to-side motion. So that's why we'll do those to support this. This way, the piece will look open, it'll be strong, and it'll give us a nice football feel. Yeah, I love this. Richard, don't watch the videos. You got to be surprised when I bring it to you. That guy, he's one of the hardest working people I know. Not only does he help me with the videos, and help me this morning actually doing some cutting and editing, he does all the work and stuff with me here in the shop. He also does food deliveries.
Yeah, I have 2 businesses,
That's right.
I need to renew my handyman license.
Nothing beats hard work.
That's
This is going to be cool. Yeah. I know what's going to happen. You guys are going to want one of these in your place.
What you got to do is build it like IKEA furniture that they can build it themselves.
Well, I'm working on that idea. That's where I was just explaining to them, because I actually figured out how I could.
As long as they don't mind.
But this is still...
As long as they don't mind paying the shipping.
This is still going to probably be about 75 pounds with all the wood in it.
Well, I'm just saying,
you got these
if
3
they don't
big
mind
pieces.
paying for the shipping.
Although, not everybody's got a TV this big. If you got a 55-inch TV, it'd be a lot smaller.
Now, what you do is you build like IKEA furniture, and they don't mind paying.
You mean fall apart?
No, like, no. You know what I mean? Build it so they can put it together. So these are going to put together.
Right. All right. On to the next step. If I can get up. All right. So because there's no plans for anything like this, this is all up in my head. So we're going to do like a little bit of a dry fit. So this is one of the footballs. So this is where I was talking about the dado cut. So what happens is this will go on just like that. Look at that. So that's where it gives it the support in there. Now again, because this is, 64 inches across, you need to have some other support and stability. If you just have the two pillars here, it's going to mess up. So that's where we have these pieces. So these will go on the back like that. And this will be able to screw up into the top, which will make it nice and strong. And then this, of course, will be able to support the shelves. Oh, but wait, there's more. Once the football is painted, we'll end up painting the laces white. So the one other thing I have to do is I'll actually square this off so it'll be up here a little bit higher. But this will also support the table as well. So you can start to see it's beginning to look like a football. Yeah. Kind of cool, isn't it? So that's basically the support on it. Now, one other thing I'm going to do as I'm looking at this is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut with the jigsaw this part here and sand it. So that way when you look at the side of it, you don't see the shelf here, but then you've got the natural curve to give it more depth. And the other piece is once we get down for the base, because the football's real narrow, we want to make sure that this thing can't rock over. If we were to just put this as is like this, then that's just, it's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So what we'll do is we're going to take some 1-bys that are the depth of this wide. And what we'll do is we're going to cut those and we're going to round over very similar to this. So those will actually be the feet. They'll attach to the outside of the football here as well as on the inside. So it'll give it a little bit of depth and look like it's sitting on a kicking block. But that, in fact, I can show you real quick. To give it extra stability, you'll basically have pieces that are put in here like this, which will end up being painted black to look like the kicking block. And what this will do is this will give it stability so that way it won't tip over. And yes, I envisioned all this in my mind. Kind of crazy, isn't it? So now, next step is getting this stuff painted. Once we get it painted, then we can start putting it into, start putting pieces together and seeing if this is actually going to work out. I don't know if I should actually put this video out here until I get the whole thing done. We'll figure it out. Okay, so you can see, I have to get it centered, but you can see how it's beginning to come together. So we'll have the football laces, boom, on there. This will be yellow. You've got your top for the TV, and then you have your shelf for all of your PlayStation stuff and things in here, and the base on here as well. So it'll give you actually a lot of storage, and it's got a kind of nice appeal to it. And the way it's kind of designed, it looks like it's just sitting on kind of the footballs. I really like this. This could be a winner. Wow. If I had a big enough shop and a way to get this to people, this might not be a bad thing to actually make and sell. All right, so here's where we are. We've actually taken our pieces, our shelves, and we put the first coat of black paint on it. You know, one thing people do a lot of times is you look for a bargain. You know, nobody wants to spend more money than they have to. Couple of things I will say to you is sometimes the cheapest price isn't the cheapest price. You can go to Walmart and buy paint, or at least you used to could, or places like that, and they have different grades of paint. Now, you may look at it and they say, well, get the Marquee paint. And you're like, that's $40 a gallon. But when you start thinking about when you get cheaper paints, there's less pigment into it and it takes more coats. You know, now we have the one coat type paints and things where they're primer and things in there. It'll save you time buying good paint. There's nothing worse than buying cheap paint and you put it on and then you got to put on 3 or 4 coats. And I've literally been in situations like that where the homeowners bought the paint and they bought literally like the builder's grade, which is best for just spraying, but it's terrible trying to roll on. Now here's what's interesting here, because this is a gallon of Marquee paint. Costs $46, $47 a gallon. But you see with one coat on there how good it's covered. I'll end up putting on 3 coats on it because I want it to be sealed up real good. And then I'm actually going to put lacquer on the top of it to really give it a high gloss finish. The inside of this won't need to have those 3 coats, but the areas that will have content, you know, the underneath it only needs 1 coat. It's not going to be a touch. The top coats where they're going to be shelves, they'll get 3 coats, but you can see how good that covers, figuring there's no primer on there. So you get what you pay for. So I'm going to let this dry out, go out and run some errands and things, and come back. We'll sand over there where we had to fill in a couple places and start painting the yellow. Same thing too, because I bought some Glidden Steelers yellow before. It did not cover real well. We ended up putting sometimes 4 and 5 coats on it. I did spend more money on getting the Marquee yellow, but 2 coats, it's perfect. So you get what you pay for. All right. Not a bad start for the first day. In fact, I'll say it's a damn good start. It's only 12:30. I might be able to get this to them before the end of the Memorial Weekend. How about that? Got to tell you, those curves and things, they look pretty good.